So we are in a bridge here just to the west of the city of Chonburi, right? It's actually kind of an interesting bridge. It's all the way surrounded by water, so you're like kind of on a Gulf, not fully, but kind of like that. And we are going to do the introduction to Genesis chapter 47. What is this chapter about? Now, yes, it starts off with the family now settling in the land of Egypt. They're meeting Pharaoh and be told where they can live in Egypt. As in the previous chapter, Joseph told his brothers, when they get to Pharaoh, they need to make sure to tell him that they are shepherds and have been shepherds for their fathers, been shepherds' fathers, so they have been shepherds for ages. That's the only thing they can basically do. It's the only thing they know. Okay, like in my family, basically all been farmers for the last 7 whatever generations there in South Africa, and in the same valley, and so the reason we now see, or we've seen in the end the previous chapter, and we see it here now, Pharaoh said you get the best of the land, you go to the land of Goshen. Sure, he didn't tell him, oh, because shepherding is such a bad thing to do and we despise shepherds, therefore we give you that land. No, he didn't say that. It's like, oh, you're shepherds, great, so we'll give you the best land, Goshen up there. Okay, so yeah, there's this whole political 1984 kind of speech here, true speech kind of going on. I mean, yeah, they knew, they understand. Moses made clear that we understand. Joseph basically knew this, so he kind of, did the brothers ever find out that is kind of the reasons? Again, that's such an important point. We know that was the reason, the real reason. But Pharaoh played the game because you know you're not going to say something negative, right, about the job they do. They're after all Joseph's brother. I mean, that would be Joseph in that same character category as well, right? So yeah, so yeah, we give you the best land, but it's actually because for the wrong reasons, okay? Because of, in a sense, it's apartheid, right? And so that is in when they settled, where they settled. Then the second part of the chapter goes on about, okay, so the drought continues, the famine continues. The people in Egypt, they come first to Joseph, say, we've spent all our money. And then Joseph say, okay, no, sell your livestock. They sell all their livestock, and then they got food for that. And then after that, they're like, okay, we sold all our livestock. What do we have now to do? So sell all your land, give it to us. And they did that. And when they had absolutely nothing as well, they served Pharaoh. Only the priests were set out from this. So you get here kind of the idea of the priestly land and the state land, which in lots of countries is a problem, and I mean, even till today it's a problem and something that's abused by people. That's not the point. We will look a little bit at that whole concept later. And yeah, that's how, but it's not all negative, right? Because say, for example, just quickly a few things on this, before people think basically Joseph enslaved all of the nation and destroyed them. Okay, firstly, you need to remember, in the years of overproduction, he kept 20% back. That forced the prices of stuff not to fall, right? An overproduction of stuff, okay, would lead to a fall in prices. So he kept the fact that they could make the same kind of money instead of. So if they planned, they could have saved money and they would have had enough for these years. Right, so the second thing is, so when their food ran out, because you know they kind of didn't take care enough of everything, what then happened is the following, that you know that what is the first thing we do when we don't have enough food is we're not going to give the little bit what we have to the cattle. So who will die out first? The cattle, understandably, before the people. But Joseph, they could. So Joseph could take care of the cattle while the locals could not do that. So by giving them all the cattle, he was actually saving the cattle and making it possible for the cattle so they have something left after 7 years. If not for that, all the cattle would have died and there would have been nothing. And where the heck would have, okay? So again, that is a very wise thing he did. It's not. It sounds negative, but it's not. It is a very positive thing, actually. The selling of the land. Now, yes, that sounds again very negative. Okay, that sounds like pure communism, which the West is totally against, and I mean I'm against communism as well, because it's like I say, everything that belongs to you is mine and everything that's mine is mine, right? That is communism. This idea of, oh no, we share everything equally, that's nonsense. Go read Animal Farm, it's clearly stated there how this all plays out, okay? Because ultimately we see this happening in South Africa at the moment, we see this in so many other countries. The leaders, they just take for themselves, and they say we are sharing. They give a little bit to others, but they're keeping everything for themselves. So now in this case, he is basically taking all the land. But when it starts raining again, these people would have, because they didn't take care of themselves, they could have saved some as well. They will have no livestock to work the land, okay? They will have no seed to plant the land. So even now it starts raining again, they will have land, but they won't be able to use the land at all. So what did Joseph do? The moment they could use the land again, right, he gave it back to them. The only thing they had to do was 20% tax, VAT, value-added tax, or maybe more income tax kind of in this sense. 20% of everything they produce they need to give to Pharaoh. If not for this, they would have had absolutely nothing, okay? But because of this, actually, they now get seed from Pharaoh. They have the land to work, so they can produce. So they can keep 80% of everything and only give 20% to Pharaoh, okay? So thanks to Pharaoh, they have 80%. If not for Joseph, they would have had nothing. Okay, so this whole thing is not negative. It is actually very positive if you look in the culture and what it would have meant if not for Joseph. Okay, so this is how the chapter basically ends. I think it's just it's a little bit reminds you of our Christians. Right? Say why do we need to give 10% to God or something back to the church? Because I worked hard for it, but you forget, if not for God, you will have nothing. So actually everything you have belongs to God. And if not for Joseph, they would have had nothing. If not for God, you will have nothing. So stop moaning about giving something back to God. Thank you.